Hello, friends, and welcome back to Digitalk. So, we are entering a new era of artificial intelligence where AI is no longer limited to answering questions or generating contents. So, modern AI systems can understand goals, make decisions, use tools, interact with applications, and perform tasks with minimum human intervention. This new approach is called the Agentic AI. Okay, for example, if you are going to ask your chat GPT or Claude, like, please book a cab for me, it's not able to do that, right? But with the help of agentic AI, okay, if I am going to ask my agent, okay, please book a cab for me, okay, that it can automatically look up for the different services that it can compare the prices of different service providers, and then it automatically book a cab for you. In fact, if cab driver is cancelled the cab, it automatically look for the other alternate options, and again it can book the cab for you, right? So this new approach where we are not only generating the new content, in fact, we are using the agentic AI to do the different kind of a task just like the humans. Okay, it is called the agentic AI. So today organizations are looking for ways to automate repetitive work, improve productivity and reduce operational cost, right? And agentic AI help achieve this by acting like a digital assistant that can plan, reason and execute tasks across multiple systems. So in the future, AI agents will become part of our daily work, helping in areas such as customer support, software development, IT operations, healthcare, finance, and education. Just as computer skills became essential in the past and cloud skills became important in recent years, now understanding agentic AI is becoming a valuable skill for professionals across industries. So learning agentic AI in today's is not just about keeping up with technology. It is about preparing yourself for the next generation of workplace where humans and AI agents will work together to solve problems faster and most efficiently. So if you are a beginner and you are planning to make your career in agentic AI, okay, so this session is specifically for you. Okay, so here I am going to explain 10 important phases that you have to follow when you are going to learn agentic AI. Because there are a lot of terms in the agentic AI because there are multiple subsystems, those are related with the agentic AI. For example, if we talk about data science, okay, and then in data science, again, we have the artificial intelligence. In artificial intelligence, we have multiple branches, right? And then we have the programming languages like Python. We have a different agentic frameworks. We have a RAG. We have LLMs. Okay, so when you, as a fresher, you try to start learning the agentic AI, then I have seen most of the engineers are confused at the very initial level because they do not know from where we have to start learn because there are multiple subsystems, keys, and terms are there, right? So what I'm going to cover in this session is if you are planning to learn agentic AI, then from where you have to start, what all are the skills that you have to learn, okay, and in the proper sequence. Okay, the good thing is that you don't need to learn everything in detail. Okay, you can't be an expert in each and everything. Okay, but from each and every field, you have to understand what all are the important concepts that you have to learn. For example, if I talk about the data science, so there are multiple branches of data science, right? So you have to learn only few of the branches at least to get an initial understanding of what is data science or what is artificial intelligence, what is the meaning of machine learning, what is the deep learning. So only the basic overview. You not have to go into the deep learning or deep understanding of each and every topics. Right, few things that you have to learn in bit detail. Okay, so that everything I'm going to explain in this session so that you will have a complete roadmap. Okay, for starting your agentic AI journey. Okay, so as I said, there are total 10 phases I'm going to explain here from where you can start. So the very first phase is about learn the Python. Okay, so there are a lot of different programming languages are available in the market. Okay, and specifically when we talk about creating the agentic AI. Okay, so we can utilize the multiple languages. It's not all specific to Python. Okay, but Python is one of the leading programming language which is mostly used in the agentic AI as well in the different other streams of the AI as well. Okay, and that's why it is a preferable language. And on top of that, we use certain frameworks, okay, to create the agentic AIs. So multiple frameworks or the leading frameworks are designed in the Python. So if you have a good understanding of Python language, programming language, okay, it is easy for you to work on any of the leading AI frameworks, okay, and to adopt your agentic AI journey very easily. So this is one of the very important skill set that you have to start with. You have to start learning the Python in detail. Okay, so these are certain examples. There are multiple things. So these are some basic concepts. Okay, when we talk about the Python. Okay, so if you have some basic idea of any of the programming language, okay, like the C, C++, Java, not in very detail, but like what is the language, how we define the variables, how we define the loops, okay, we what are the different conditions. So if you are aware about all these things, that it is easy for you to adopt Python as well. It is very user friendly. Okay, and you can easily dedicate few weeks for learning the Pythons, okay, and then you can able to create your own programs, and at least you can able to understand what we are doing when we are creating the agentic AIs. So this is a very basic skill. Very first thing, you have to learn the Python. Now the second thing is learn Linux. So Linux is one of the operating system, just like we have a Windows. Similarly, we have the Linux operating systems as well. So again, you don't need to learn Linux in very deep, like the architecture of Linux and then functionality of Linux. That don't need to run all these things. Okay, only thing what you need to learn is about what is Linux operating system, how we run the basic commands. Okay, so like in the Windows, we have the graphical user interface where we have the icons, like right where we click double click and open the applications, and then we start working on that. But in the Linux, which is a Unix based operating system, we have to work with the commands. Okay, like you want to edit some files, you want to rename some file, you want to remove some files, you want to create some directories. So every action has a command. So you need some basic understanding. So if you are already working in support and you have some experience of the industry, then you should have a knowledge of basic knowledge of the Linux, right? But if you are not from the industry background, you are a student, you are, or maybe you are just trying to begin your agentic AI journey, so start learning Linux as well. Okay, so at least basic commands, not again in detail, as I said. Okay, you have to just learn the basic commands of Linux so that you have a basic understanding of how to work with the Linux operating system. And the reason is that most AI applications run on the Linux servers. So whenever we design multiple AI applications, okay, so these applications run on the Linux or maybe in the some containerized solutions. So Linux is the backbone of cloud infrastructure and production deployment. So you should have a good knowledge of the Linux. So very first thing, phase one, what we have learned in phase one, you have to have a good understanding of Python. Then you should have some understanding of the Linux operating system. Okay. Third important phase about learn AI fundamentals. Okay, because you are going to create the agentic AI. Okay, and the base of agentic AI is the AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, so again, it is important to understand some basic concepts of the AI. Okay, so there are multiple sub branches of the AI. Okay, so you don't need to learn each and every branch in detail. Okay, what only you need to learn is about the basic concepts of AI and some important branches of the AI. So what all terms or sub branches that you have to love in the AI is about, you can learn like what is ML, machine learning, the basic concept of machine learning, how it works, and then deep learning. So deep learning, machine learning, all are the sub branches of the artificial intelligence. Okay, and to understand this machine learning and deep learning concept is very important, because today generative AI, okay, where you have a Claude, we have a Chat GPT, all these models, okay, work based on the some deep learning or machine learning concepts. Okay, so you have to just understand what is machine learning, what is deep learning. It's a very interesting topic. You just take some look on the documentations, and you can easily understand. It's a very straightforward and simple things. Okay, how it works. You don't need to go into the deep in again inside the deep. Okay, how it works, like what is the different kind of algorithms, how we write the algorithms, how to execute the algorithms. You don't need to understand in detail. Just the basic concept of ML and deep learning. Okay, then we have an important concept called LLM. Okay, so we have this LLM in a different phase. I will explain you in the next few slides. Okay, and along with that, we have some other important terms. This is called the RAG, Retrieval Augmentation Generation. So these we are going to cover in two different phases later a time. Okay, so what we are covering here is you have to understand the some basic concepts of the AI. Okay, so learn about the what is artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. These are a few basic concepts that you can learn. You can get some overview, higher level overview of artificial intelligence. The next one is a learn APIs, application programming interfaces. Okay, so why to learn APIs? Because in when we talk about the agentic AI, so agentic AI are the kind of a digital assistants. Okay, they do a lot of work for you. Okay, and they are integrated with the multiple tools. Okay, tools in the sense it could be a backend database, it could be a some third party systems. Okay, for example, I have given example like agentic AI can book a cab for you, okay, whenever you want. So if agentic AI is booking a cab for you, so it has to interact with the backend system of the cab service providers, right? There could be a multiple cab service providers like cab service provider 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so when your agentic AI is booking a cab for you. Okay, so it has to look for each and every operators, and it has to look for the what are the different good options are available, best options are available, and then based on that it book the cab. So it may be interact with the backend cab service providers, different services. Okay, and then it may need to store some data in the database. This is a very basic example. So what I'm talking about here, your agentic AI can do a lot of work for you, and for that it interact with the multiple tools. So here it could be database, it could be the different clouds, cab service providers. Okay, so these are referring as the tools, right? And in agentic AI, these kind of a integration with the backend tools is mostly happen with the help of APIs. Okay, so in API, in agentic AI, everything is API. Whenever your agent is going to call any of the backend tool, okay, it is going to call it with the help of APIs. Okay, and that's why it is important to understand the basic concepts of AI. You really don't need to understand the development of AI. Okay, you need to understand how API works, what is the purpose of API, what are some generic syntax, like when we are writing the code, what are few important sections that we write inside the API, so that in case of any troubleshooting is required, or in case you need to interpret some of the APIs, so you can understand at least bit or thing on that. Okay, and you understand like, okay, how API works, how it integrates with the third party systems, right? So that means, why this phase? Because all agents constantly call APIs to retrieve data, trigger actions, and integrate with services. API are the connection tissue of agentic AI system. So as I said, API you can also consider as a backbone of your agentic AI, because every communication or every interaction is happening in the agentic AI with the help of APIs. So this is again a very important concept that you have to learn, and this is the phase 4. Okay, then phase 5 is the LLMs, which is called the large language models. Large language models. Okay, so if you are confused on what is LLMs, large language model, because a lot of people today are talking about the LLMs. Okay, but what is LLMs? It's very simple. You are doing a lot of stuff today with the help of ChatGPT. Maybe you are using Claude. Maybe you are using Google Gemini. Okay, so this ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, these all are the example of the LLMs, large language models. Okay, and how it works? These ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all these models are trained with the humongous data. There are large data, or you can say which is publicly available on the internet, right? So it is trained on the large data. Okay, and then whenever we ask any questions, whenever we look for any documentation or any various any questions for to get the information which is available in the internet, that means the information that is available on the public network or internet. Okay, so you get answer of all the questions with the help of this chat GPT, Claude, or Gemini, right? So that means how it generate the answer, because it is trained on the large humongous data, public data, which is available on the internet. Okay, so this large language model, again, this is a kind of a artificial intelligence. Okay, and inside the artificial intelligence, I have explained in the previous slide what is the importance of learning the deep learning. Deep learning, like we have machine learning, and inside the machine learning we have the deep learning. So these LLMs, okay, these LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all work on the principles of the deep learning. Okay, so if you really wanted to learn the large language model LLMs in a proper way, so you should have some basic understanding of the deep learning. What is the meaning of deep learning, how it works? So if you have a knowledge of deep learning and how it works, then you can easily understand the large language models. Okay, so again, as I said, this large language models trained on huge data set. Okay, so that to summarize, translate, and generate human-like response. Like whenever you interact with these all these tools, so you can interact in a human way as well. Okay, and it understand and it start talking in the same way with you, right? So that's why it is called the large language model, because it is trained on the large humongous data. Okay, so LLMs are the reasoning engine of agentic AI, mastering how to communicate with and orchestrate them in core skills. So whenever we are going to use agentic AI, right? So agentic AI is act like a human, right? So when it acts like a human, that means it has a certain brain, it has a memory, right, which interact with like the human. So when you are interacting with an agent AI just like a human, and you are expecting that agent should also respond in the human way. Okay, so for that it always utilize the LLMs. So that means agentic AI always use the LLMs, okay, to generate the response or to summarize the result and present to the end user in the form of just like the humans. So apart from learning, APIs, which is the communication backbone of your agentic AI, LLMs is the other important core component of the agentic AI system. So you should have some good understanding of LLMs as well. Okay, how it works, what is the concept of LLMs, why it is used, and again, as I said, this is a branch of the deep learning. So you should get some understanding of what is artificial intelligence, and inside the artificial intelligence, what is the deep learning. Now, the next important part is your vector database and RAG. This is a very core and critical component of agentic AI. Agentic AI. Okay. Now, why it is critical and core component of agentic AI? Okay. So, vector database and RAG. So, what is RAG? RAG is called retrieval augmented generation. Is retrieval augmented and generation. What does it mean? Retrieve the data, augment it, and then generate the response or generate the final response. Okay, so it is something related with reading some content, reading some data which may be available publicly and which may not be available publicly. Now, what does it mean? So, for example, if you go to Chat GPT, okay, and you try to raise some questions, okay, so you will get the answer for only the questions for that information is available publicly on the internet. If the information is not available on the internet publicly, then you will not get the response from the agent from the Chat GPT or maybe Claude or any of the LLMs like the Gemini or any of the other LLMs. Right? For example, if you raise the question, what is my company policy on the leaves? Okay. So now this specific information is related with your company policy. Okay, so that means it is specifically to your organization, and this information is not available on the public domain. It is only available in the documentations or PDF that is available in your organization, right? So now if you are going to ask any of the LLMs like what is my company's leave policy, then definitely you are going to get an answer that sorry, I do not have the access to your organization documentations or leave policy, so I cannot answer that question, right? Because that information is not available publicly, right? So if you want to get the answer of this question, so what you can do, you may have a PDF document of your organization where the policy is completely defined, leave policies. There could be a large document. So you can upload that PDF document in the LLM like ChatGPT or Claude. Okay, and once that document is uploaded, then this particular LLM model has the complete information about your company policy because you have specifically given the PDF document, and your Chat GPT or any of the LLM can easily read the document and interpret the document, and after that it can able to answer any of the questions related with the leaves that is specifically defined in that particular documentation, right? Similarly, if you say that how much marks or what is the grade I secured in my graduation, do you think that this LLM can able to answer that question? It's no, because that information is with you only. You have a graduation documents that is available with you only. It's not on the public domain. Your LLMs cannot talk to your documentation which is there in your own system, right? So what is the way if you want that your LLMs can answer what is the grade that you have secured in your graduation? So what do you need to do? You need to upload your graduation documents in the LLMs so that LLM can read the document and then it can generate the response for you, right? So that means LLMs can only work on the data which is available publicly or in which that it has been trained, right? But if the information is not with your LLMs, then it can't able to answer. So now what we do with the RAG and the vector database, it help us to solve these kind of a problems. So that means you can customize the LLMs according to your requirement, according to your personal requirements, according to your organization requirement. Okay, where we provide the access of all the organization documents or maybe your personal documents to the LLMs. Okay, so you have a LLM. Okay, and then we provide the access for our personal data or you can say organizational data. So once you will provide the access to your own organization data to this particular LLMs, okay, and then it can able to answer, right? Because then it can able to read your own documentation and then it can answer easily all the information, right? So for these kind of integrations where you want these LLMs to integrate with your own organizational personal data. Okay, to curate the content, customize contents according to your requirements. So we have a component in between RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So here in between of RAG, we will have the, sorry, in between of LLM and your own organizational or personal data, we have the RAG. Okay, so what is the functioning of this RAG? This RAG does all this work to retrieval, augmented and generation. So it retrieve all your data. So we interact with the LLM. This LLM can contact the RAG, and RAG can contact your own organizational personal database for the data. Like it could be your text file, it could be PDF files, Excel files, your database, or it can be anything, any source of data. Okay, so it will retrieve the data and then it will augment the data. So there would be a lot of data whenever we run any of the specific query. There could be a lot of related data. So we need to specify or we need to extract only the relevant information which is most relevant to your query. Okay, so it is going to augment the data based on your requirement, and then it is going to generate the final response from your documentation. Okay, and this final response send back to the LLM. Okay, and this LLM, which is very good in generating the human like response. So once it has the complete information from your personal database, it is going to generate the response just like we get in the chat GPT as of today, chat GPT, Claude, Gemini, right? Whenever we write the queries. So only thing what we are doing, we have a component RAG in between which is going to interact with your own personal database. Okay, and that is the way where it has a great importance, because what we want agentic AI to do our regular works, either my personal works or either my organizational works, and for that I need to provide the access to my own data. And this RAG does all these things for you, and this data, okay, so like because we have a huge data. Okay, so whenever we have a huge data like in database or in our file system, so we do certain kind of indexing so that we can retrieve the database easily, and we have to save the relevant information at the same place. Okay, so relevant information, if I'm talking about policy, so I should have a policy document in one place for my organization. Okay, I have employee database, so I should have a employee related information at some place. I should have a departmental related information at some place. So we have to do the categorization of information at one place so that the retrieval and searching of the data is easy whenever the request received from the LLM. Okay, so for that this information is stored in the vector database. So it is a kind of a database, okay, which store the related information at the same place. So this RAG always use the vector database. Okay, so now in the phase 6 after LLM, it is important to understand what is RAG, how it works, what are the different component of RAG, what is the purpose of RAG, why we use it, and then you have to learn the vector database as well, because this RAG always interact with the vector database for these kind of information. It is store all the information in the vector database. So you have to understand it. So RAG enable AI agentic to access external knowledge. Okay, so external knowledge means your own personal database or maybe organization database dynamically, solving the context window limitation and keeping response grounded in the real data. So that's why after LLM it is very important to understand the RAG. Okay, and then once you have a complete information about the LLM plus RAG, okay, and then you have a good understanding of the language Python, and you have some basic understanding of the AI, like what is machine learning, which is deep learning, like this one. Okay, after that you have to learn the agentic AI frameworks. So what is framework? These are the different softwares that we use to build the agentic AIs. Okay, so if you have any development experience, so then you know that we have a different development tools are available in the market. Okay, so we use the development tool for developing the code. Similarly, when you are working with the agentic AI and you want to generate or create your own agentic AIs, okay, so you need to learn some agentic AI frameworks to build your own agents. Okay, so framework accelerates agent development by providing abstraction for memory, tool use, and multi-agent orchestration. Don't reinvent the wheel. That means there are multiple agentic AIs are available in the market. Agentic frameworks are available in the market. So why I told you to learn Python initially, because most of the agentic frameworks are built on the Python. They are Python based. And when you are write your own agent, so you may write the agent in the Python instead of writing the agent in some different code. You may write the a code in the Python. Okay. So for that you have to understand the different agent frameworks. Okay, so there are a lot of agentic frameworks are available in the market. Like you can start from LangChain. So LangChain is one of the agentic framework that we use to develop the agentic AIs. Second, we have a LangGraph. LangGraph is again an important tool, okay, for building the agentic frameworks. After that, we have some more advanced or good tools are there. Once you have some basic understanding or working knowledge of the lang chain, lang graph, okay, we have a Crew AI, we have Microsoft AutoGen, we have a agent memory patterns, okay. So there are a lot of different tools are available, and then we have a different concept when we work with the agent. Okay, so multi-agent orchestration. So today, when we talking about the agentic AI, so we may have the multiple agent, not a single agent. Okay, so that means whenever you are creating the agentic AI, your agentic AIs, okay, so you may create the two agent. Okay, so agent one, agent two. So agent one may be doing booking a cab for you. Okay, and agent two is looking for that the cab that has been booked by the agent one is still valid. It has not been cancelled. Right. So if it is cancelled, the second agent again book the cab for you. If it is cancelled, whatever booked by the agent one. So there could be a multiple agent, not a single agent. Okay, so it is very important to understand the agentic framework so that you should start developing the agentic AIs. Okay, then you can learn few database concepts. So one I said vector database, right? So vector database is used by the RAG. Okay, and along with that, you can get the understanding of some other basic database as well, like the Oracle database is there, DB2 is there. Okay, so at least you should get some basic understanding of the database. It will help you to understand the vector DB as well. Okay, how we store the data in vector DB, what are the basic concepts of your vector DB or maybe any of the database. Okay, again, it's not at the deep level, just a basic understanding of data, how to connect with the database, how to run the different queries, what is SQL, what are the queries. Okay, so these are some basic understanding you have to get at the database level. Okay, then you have to get some understanding on the cloud and deployments, right? So once your agentic AIs are ready, okay, you need to deploy that agentic agents in some environments so that it is available for the users, either you for your personal use, either for the organizational use. So you that means you need to deploy your agentic AIs, okay, in some environment. So either you can deploy in the cloud environment or it may be in the on-premise traditional environment. And for deployment, we have the multiple technologies are available in the market. Okay, we have the Kubernetes, we have the Docker and containerized solutions. If you go to the AWS cloud or some other cloud, then we have a multiple other services like the Firegate, Lambda in AWS, S3 storage in AWS. Okay, we have a API service in the AWS. So that means to get a basic understanding of some deployment services as well. Okay, so that once your agentic AI is ready, you can easily deploy it as well in some environments. Okay, and then last is once you have a complete understanding of all these topics, then you can start building the real project, or you can start from a basic small agentic AI code. Okay, so this is the first session that I'm posting on the agentic AI, where I'm giving you the complete path, end-to-end path from where you can start learning your agentic AI journey. Okay, after that onwards, whenever I will get time, I will start posting few more sessions on the agentic AI, and then I will show you how to you can generate your initial basic agentic AIs, and how you can automate few tasks for you, like you can have a log file. You want agent which can read your log file and can respond to you based on the different scenarios. Okay, so these kind of a lab exercises and all the sessions I'm going to create in the near future as well for you. Okay, so that you have a good path or understanding of agentic AI. Okay, to convert it in a real professional environment. So let me recap all the 10 phases, okay, that you have to learn in sequence, okay, if you really wanted to make your career in the agentic AI. The very first thing, as I said, you have to make a good hold on the Python programming language, get some basic idea of Linux command, how to work in the Linux operating systems. Then learn some AI basic fundamentals, where we have the machine learning, deep learning, and just the concepts, okay, not in deep. Then learn the APIs, concept of APIs, because API is the communication backbone in the agentic AIs. Then LLMs, which is an again important core engine of your agentic AI. Then you have to learn the RAG, okay, and then vector database in the RAG. Okay, so these are very important core concepts where you have to dedicate it some good time learning the LLMs and RAG and vector DB. Okay, and along with that, the agentic framework, okay, to create or your own agents. Then get some understanding of the some any of the database, the basic concept of database, and then once your agents are ready, how you to deploy in the different cloud native environments or maybe in the traditional environments. So hope this session will help you to understand your agentic AI, and then the phases, okay, you have to learn to make your career in the agentic AI.